Hello, everybody. Welcome to Empath Academy, Class 3. I had recorded a beautiful Class 3 just yesterday, and for whatever reasons, the upload did not go through, and that has created an enormous amount of frustration for me, which is okay. Because as empath, we feel things very deeply, right? So I am deeply feeling into my frustration. And so I decided while I was in the resistance of not wanting to have to re-record, but really not having any other options, I decided that I would record outside as a reminder to myself and to you all that nature is where we replenish the beautiful energy that is within us. It is where we can refuel. It's where we can normalize, if that's even possible, because what is really normal anymore? But where we can stabilize, let's say, our emotional state, our energy, how, the inner landscape of what's going on. So this is where I'm going to do our video for Class 3 of Empath Academy out in the beautiful outdoors. So you will hear other ambient sounds. I hear crickets, even though it's barely the afternoon. I hear birds. My dogs are out here with me, so they may, in fact, bark, so my apologies. That is distracting. I hope that does not happen. But let's move on, okay? Let's talk about some other facets of the blessings of being an empath. So, empaths, this is from Dr. Orloff. She says, we are known to be the great listeners of life, which I think is such a beautiful, beautiful way to talk about how those around us tend to be attracted to us to tell us their life stories, right? Do you ever find that people seek you out to talk to you, to share with you, to share their life stories? Sometimes on and on and on these stories can go, and you're not sure what energy you're emanating that would have drawn this in, but it's just who we are. We are, generally speaking, empaths are very, very good listeners, very deep listeners, and other people can sense that. And so who doesn't want to be in conversation or sharing with somebody who is able to deeply listen to them, who's able to really pay attention and tune in to that which they are saying? It's a beautiful experience. We've all had that experience of really being listened to. So that's all great and lovely, except it's not always what is serving us, right? As you find yourself in the position of receiving these stories from others, sometimes you don't want to have to hold that. Sometimes you don't want to be trapped in a conversation and have to be polite with it, and polite being that you allow the other person to finish their story. Sometimes that's not really what's in the best interest of you or the situation. And so what I will propose is something that I do try to practice, and something that actually I have mastered with a particular family member of mine. So this family member is an adult and is very, very close with me and has a gift for gab. So he loves to talk. And I do love to listen to him, to his stories, to the things he has to share. I've learned a lot from him. He's a very, very dear and special person. Having said that, I don't always have the time, the inclination, or the energy to listen to his stories. And I can feel guilty about this, and trust me, I have really judged myself for this and said, well, he's a family member, I should always be listening, I should always make myself available. I need to just show up and be quiet and listen. And I tried that for a number of years, and it really wasn't working very well for me because I would find myself in the moments of his sharing, as the stories were extending and going on, I would find myself feeling very resentful, right? I felt trapped, and he wasn't trapping me. It was this expectation on myself that I should be a certain way, that I should be a silent and very good listener to him, that I should, whatever. Anytime you should yourself, check in and find out, is that really true? Is that really a reasonable expectation for myself? And it turns out it's not. For me, it's not a reasonable expectation. With all of the things that I have going on in my life, I don't have endless periods of time to be a listener to others. I have scheduled periods of time where I can be completely dedicated to the listening process. But what ended up working out, and what I want to encourage you all to do, is that I have had a few conversations with this family member to let him know that I love him dearly, and that I do want to hear what he has to say, that it is important to me, but that it's not always the right time when he calls or when he's perhaps visiting at my home and I'm running around trying to get a meal prepared or attending to the needs of my children or trying to get my mind wrapped around a work issue, for example. And so I needed to know that he would understand if I said, now's not the time, because there would be many situations where he would bring up, hey, I have something I want to share with you, something funny, or I have a great story to tell you. And I would start to say, I want to hear that, but now's not a good time. And sometimes that good time didn't present itself. And then I would say, why don't you email me the story? Why don't you write it down, type it up to me? I want to read it, but I need to read it when I have some time to read it. And that can streamline things. But this example is to show you that it is your right to claim your energetic space from anybody. It doesn't matter if it's your boss at work, if it is a family member who you love, if it is a stranger. It is your right and your responsibility to claim your space, to make your requests, make them clear, and have them come from a loving place, but make them clear and make them. If I hadn't done that, I would be continually finding myself in the position with this family member of really dreading interaction, because he would not know that on the outside I was completely at odds with not wanting to engage in a conversation because it would go too long and because I would feel like I didn't have the time for it or the desire. You know, it takes a lot of energy to be an empath. It really does, because we do care so deeply about others. We are listening so deeply for the nuances, for the energies behind what people are saying, so that we can know the truth to what it is that they're feeling. And so for those of us that kind of run the waves of feeling depleted, exhausted, and replenished and joyful and all of those things, it's really important for us to place a clear boundary around our energy. And so that is one example. And for those of you for those of you that are parents, I'm really going to encourage you to take this stance with your children, no matter their age. And I know when they're really young, it can be hard to stake your claim and to have them understand that you need some space as well. But I'm going to encourage you to do it anyways, because the sooner you start that type of conversation, the more respect and understanding your children can have, and the more they learn how to take care of themselves. So by you advocating for your needs and stating what it is that you are needing to have in that moment, whether you get it or not is irrelevant, but by you stating it and being clear about it, your children will learn how to do the same. And that is, I believe, part of our role with them, to teach them self-care, to teach them self-love, to teach them self-respect and self-esteem. What is it that you need? State it lovingly and clearly, and go ahead and get it. Let's see, I'm just consulting my notes here. So thoughts and feelings that we have as empaths that we receive from external sources can create rapid, unexpected mood fluctuations. Not fun, is it? It's not fun to be having a super lovely day and then go off to the grocery store or to Target or to Costco, just using my life examples, and to come home and feel totally just run over by a truck or cranky. For me, sometimes this crankiness comes in unexpectedly. And so to recognize first that our role is always to have a sense of knowing about where you are with your own mood. Where are you with your own energy? Sometimes even when we're having a great day, that doesn't mean that our energetic field cannot be penetrated by the energy of another. Doesn't mean that at all. And so to know where you're at and do a quick check-in before you engage in a denser environment, like out with the general public, for example. I don't know if you can hear, but there is a cardinal eating from my feeder right now. So I'm so glad I chose to do this out in nature. Thank you for bearing with me, and I apologize for the dogs barking. So if we are clear about where we're at, and we are clear about where we want to be, for example, if I'm having a great day, guess where I want to stay? I want to stay in the energy of that great day. And so before I go out to the grocery store or to run my errands, I can say, I'm really centered right now. I'm really grateful for being centered. I would like to keep that space. And so I'm going to be aware of any energies that tend to kind of permeate into my energetic field. And I'm going to place that energetic bubble of protection around me so that they just bounce off. That just takes a moment of your time to be conscious, to make that request. And then the universe responds. It responds with the energetic bubble. It responds with the protection that you're seeking. It responds by your guides showing up and saying, okay, we hear you, we got this. You want to stay where you're at. You want to keep your high vibe going. You don't want to be susceptible to the energies, the external energies of others. So do this. Please take this step to take stock, take inventory. Where's my energy right now? And what do I love about it? What do I want to keep going about it? And what parts do I wish to release? And so if I'm to do a check-in right now, what I would say is, I am feeling a much higher frequency than I was before I started this re-record. I'm feeling grateful to be in the presence of nature, to be hearing the sounds of nature, to be sitting next to my dog, to be aware that this class that I'm creating is going to impact whomever it is meant to reach in very positive ways, to give others permission to do what I think is so powerful and important, which is to take stock of and decide how we are wanting to feel in any given moment. That is what allows us to reach for that higher flying disc, as Abraham Hicks says. That is the empowering point for us that allows us to more deeply know who we are and what we are here to bring and who we are here to interact with and what is being required of that. And so there's an excited energy that I'm present to. There is definitely an energy of gratitude that I am present to. And I'm also feeling tired. I feel tired today. For whatever reasons, it doesn't matter. You don't always have to know, by the way, why you're feeling a certain way. Sometimes it's more exhausting to try to get to the bottom of it than to just say, yep, I'm feeling tired. I can't explain it. I had a great night's sleep last night. I had wonderful sessions today. I had some aggravation. Yep, I definitely did. But I feel like I'm moving through it. Sometimes you don't need to know. It's enough just to say, this is how I am identifying my energy right now. So here's why it's so important for you to know where you're at, because an empath that does not have any sense for themselves being an empath, they don't have any knowledge of it or understanding of it, will generally be an ungrounded person. And it feels really crappy to be ungrounded, right? This is a practice. There is a practice that you can do. It's, by the way, it's in Spiritual Boot Camp. I talk about grounding and rooting your energy. It allows you to feel deeply connected to the earth. It allows me to sit straighter. It helps you to know where you're at in any given moment, to be grounded. And so being out in nature can do that. It can ground us, because look at all the plants around me and the trees. They are heavily rooted. They know where they are. They still have room to sway in the breeze, but their roots are holding them firm. That's what we need too. We need to be grounded. Let's see if I have missed anything else. I'm going to talk briefly about the need for solitude. This is a biggie, and again, I'm going to bring it back to parenting, because as a mother of 3 children, it is a big job. It's a huge job being a parent. It's a huge job being a partner or a spouse. It's a huge job being whatever you are to others, however you are showing up in service of your purpose. And so as such, we need to have solitude, and empaths need this maybe even more frequently than non-empaths. We need to have our moments where we are not being bombarded by external energy. We need to have our moments of quiet and peace to go within, and oftentimes that only happens through solitude. So you don't have to say, oh, I have to meditate every time I'm in solitude. Meditation is wonderful and such an important tool. Yes, do it. If you're inclined, do it. But it doesn't have to be that. It can just be flopping on your bed and letting your thoughts just run their course and just breathing. It can be sitting by yourself and having that big delicious piece of chocolate cake that you've been looking forward to all day in solitude. It can be having a mantra that is impactful to you, that is supportive to you, that you repeat over and over, or mala beads, which I highly recommend and love, where we are repeating a mantra or a meditation 108 times, one for each bead, to reset the mind, to really create the space between thoughts and to create more flow of manifestation. What you do in solitude is up to you. I'm just encouraging you to grab your solitude when you can. And no, not when you can, to grab it every day, even if it's for a few minutes at a time. It is an important time for the replenishing and resourcing of energy for you. So honor it as important as brushing your teeth, as important as general hygiene. It is an essential part of self-care. Solitude is, especially for empaths. So thank you for tuning in today. Thank you for watching Empath Academy. I hope it is meaningful to you, and I look forward to seeing you back for class 4.